Morning, it's 10:01. We'll call this meeting Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. Everyone, please rise. This time I'd like to call on Commissioner Fincannon for the invocation.
Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, just all you do for us, Lord. Thank you for bringing you more than anything.
Call on
Thank you for your
Commissioner
many
Fincannon
blessings.
for the
Lord, I continue to ask that you be with us as we
Thank
ask
you,
for
Lord,
wisdom
just
and ask for all you do for us, Lord. Ask for your knowledge, Lord. Thank you and how to act for county business. In this time of Thanksgiving this week, Lord, I just want us all to remember to give thanks to you, Lord. To give thanks to you first. Enjoy the time we have with our family and friends. All these things I ask through your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Y'all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Take your seats, please. Okay. This time it is 10:02, and do we have any public comments of anyone here or on the call-in?
Yeah, since Jim's made it a whole week and he hasn't ran off from us yet, I know you want to run a traditionalist court, so we got something for you that you need to wear on your first day. We expect you to wear this now.
Can we have a fitting?
Doing that at the rest of the commissioners.
And they'll have red suits on sale right after Christmas.
Oh, me.
That makes it official, doesn't it?
All right. Well, while we're ho-ho-hoing like that, Fantasy of Lights opens tonight, 6 o'clock. And everyone's sure welcome to come to that. The weather ought to feel fairly Christmassy and that kind of thing, and not too bad. Santa was out there for the kids from like 6 to 8:30 or until the line goes away. And so we'll work on that. All right, anyone else? Just while we're doing that, so we'll mention the courthouse. It's not probably a shock to anyone. Will be officially closed Thursday and Friday. But we have a lot of unofficial closings that starting at noon in many offices. So some of us will still be here, but many of the offices will not be. And that is at the discretion of the elected official. The other county offices that generally work for the commissioners, some of those will have early release and some won't. Okay, that will conclude the public announcements at 10:04. We've kind of got the agenda arranged a little different because we want to go ahead and get the canvassing done. At this time, I would call on Ms. Baxley, who is the elections manager, to present the canvassing report.
Precinct by precinct.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, I mean, we've canvassed. Annette and I have done a reconciliation and we're sending that to the state. So we're good on that. And then after the canvass today, I'll send everything to the state to have them canvass through.
And this is a very good report, Penny.
Thank you. Thank you.
So y'all hand counted?
No, we're still hand counting.
You pulled 2 precincts?
Three.
Three precincts.
102, 303, and 410.
And those were precincts designated by?
By the state. The state will give us 3. And what we're doing now is we did 3 full canvasses of 3 election day polling locations, which was the Forum, Mercy Church, and Sykes Lake. to make sure that they balanced out. Those are done, they are good. And then we are doing just those 3 precincts and all the early voting, which we're still working on them. So, which I want them to be done today. So we can get all of it done and everything will be at the state before Thanksgiving. And they want the canvas done before Thanksgiving.
Okay, and that's outside of this report, and
What? Yes, it
The
is.
fi-
Yes, yes.
and we'll get a copy of that. when
You,
it's-
the one that I send to the state?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll send it to you as well. Yes, sir.
Did you say 2 of the 3 are already complete?
The 3 polling
copy of
locations
that.
from Election Day are complete. The one that I sent is completely balanced out. We are just now going back through the early voting ones to make sure we didn't miss any.
Okay.
which
So
I-
everything that was done on the machines is balanced out, all good?
For Election Day, those 3, yes, sir.
Okay.
And Penny, I
Yes,
wanna
sir.
thank Annette for, every time I look up, she's here working and
Yeah.
helping, so.
Yes, sir, she's been a
Tirelessly.
great asset. We need to put her on payroll.
Yeah,
Just,
Yeah.
but yes, she has been a very amazing, she is amazing help.
Just the couple of times I poked my head in the door, that's a monumental task
Yep.
of hand pulling all those ballots, and you are to be commended for
It
that.
is.
Just an incredible amount of work.
And I've asked for help today, but somebody won't help me, so. He said he wasn't on that train wagon, and I told him beep beep, he was.
Someone might question him helping since.
That's true.
Other than
That's
that, no
true.
small deal,
Nah,
but.
I just gotta give him a hard time.
Yeah.
But everything looks good, and when I get it to the state,
Yeah,
I'm
looking
I wanna
forward
get
to
it
seeing
there
what
this
those
afternoon.
results.
Yes. And
Yeah,
then
Penny,
that way it'll tell you, pardon me?
We need to thank our election judges and workers and all,
Yes,
because
sir.
I know they're getting harder and harder to find, and they do a great job. And I purposely voted on election day just to go through the process and just, you get a feel, for how things are going, and it was done very professional. I
Good.
think I stood in line 10 minutes and got through, and that tells you that there are a lot of people doing a good job of making that stuff work. And you're always gonna have a few hiccups, but I think all in all, we've got a lot of good people doing a lot of good work, and again, nobody wants that election process to be any better or more fair or to find the right results than those of us sitting up here, because we all go through it. And-
Me also, me also.
and we want it to be that way, and I was just really impressed with the way the system worked, and
Well,
Yeah.
thank
thanks
you.
to everybody involved.
I thank them also. If it wasn't for the workers, we couldn't.
Yeah, we'd be in
No.
trouble. We've got some good ones.
Yes,
Got
sir.
got to visit with several polling locations on election day, and the overwhelming, they were very positive with the machines.
Everywhere I went,
The
they were very positive.
o-
And they-
Only hiccup that I was aware of in visiting with all of them was the one at Floral Heights, and I guess that was taken care of very quickly.
Very
so-
quickly,
So,
very. I just didn't even, I went to see what it was, because I thought, but then I just went and got a machine and just changed it out. I don't like, to me, if you go there and you work on it, then they're like asking, well, what are you doing? So I just took a different one, and
yeah.
they didn't know the difference.
And how many spares do we have in order to be able to do that?
Of the scanners, I think Lori told me that when they ordered, she ordered 35, and we used 23.
Okay, so we have plenty of spares to
And
be
then you-
able to change those out.
And you can use the early voting ones as well, so we have those 6 plus whatever spares that we do have.
What can we not use of early voting?
You can use everything
Just
now.
the memory.
Yeah, you can't use that V drive.
Whatever that's,
You can use the machines, but just not the V drive.
V drive.
Mhm.
The other thing I would suggest, because we thought for a while we had the central balloting scanner was not reading right, but it
Mhm.
wasn't it. But we didn't have the other one ready to go.
Right,
I think I'd have it, sitting, ready to go in the same room.
me too.
And you'll have more room when you move downstairs.
Yeah.
There's, no sense in putting it up now. They're fixing to tear everything down, aren't they?
Yeah, when we move into the new elections room, we'll set both
I think
machines
so.
up, so we're ready to
It
go.
runs faster. It'll
Yeah.
run a lot faster, because we did that in the last election with the E-slates, and it ran a lot faster.
Yeah.
Or the with both scanners
with
going.
both scanners going, and then you also have, if something happens to one, you've got the other one ready to go.
Exactly.
We weren't in that position this time,
No,
so.
Yeah.
but we worked through it and we got it.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a different problem.
It did.
I think it's always good to have someone from Hart here that has used this equipment longer and more than we have. You're gaining it. But what people understand, it's like if you only did a heart surgery once or twice a year, that probably isn't the surgeon you want, but that's the surgeon
no.
you gotta have here for this. 'Cause we just can't have elections because they're so much fun, to do. So,
She
no,
was
I
very
thought it went
helpful.
well. The other thing I talked about to Lori, and I think this would help as the court works through the transition to an elections administrator, is for you all to look back from the day you started this. What are all the things you plan to do? What were the things that maybe you forgot to do, you had to catch up? So we've got a complete flow chart checklist of how to conduct that election.
I've started that.
Okay, good. I thought you might have, but
I have.
I think as we make that decision to move forward on going to actually establishing the election administrator office, then,
I wanna go through A to Z. I don't wanna go to A to Z, or D and stop, and
yeah,
I wanna just follow it through.
yeah.
Well,
It's
But,
better that way.
yeah,
If I can get everybody else on board, we'll be good.
okay.
And your election night check-in went extremely well,
It was amazing down there.
yeah, so,
I missed the girls being upstairs, but it was amazing.
yeah,
And
the
they loved
the
it.
process seemed to go extremely well compared to
They
what I've seen in
loved
the
it.
past.
So maybe you just need to move IT and leave us that room.
You're still gonna be down and out, you're still gonna be able to run that same process,
Yeah.
just across the hall, so,
Yeah,
So planning, it was great. That room right there was great.
yeah.
Yes, they loved it. So,
Judge, I'd make the motion that we accept the election results as presented by the election manager.
Second.
thank you. Any comments or questions, anyone in the audience here or on the phone? Okay, a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to accept the canvass as presented by Mrs. Baxley, election manager. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cindy. Okay, court would look at the consent agenda.
Judge, I had just an addition to item 7. I need yours or my signature on a letter back accepting that material,
Since that, okay, I'll sign that. and then-
okay?
So we'll just add for county judge's signature on
Okay.
that. Okay, anything else on consent agenda?
No, motion to approve.
Second. There's a lot of stuff there, Judge, but it's a lot of just housekeeping.
Yeah,
And
well, you're gonna see more of that between now and the end of the year.
Right.
Yes, sir. Commissioner
Judge,
Watts?
on item 17, I did have just clarification for Cheryl. She went over with us, when we went out for bid, they had give us that single audit.
Right, we have to have a federal single audit and a state single audit.
Okay.
So we have to have an additional single audit.
Okay.
that we
I didn't
not
even
use
realize that
state.
was a thing, but she had requested it in our bid, and
Mhm.
so.
Yes,
Okay,
whatever the threshold on those.
okay, motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Waller to approve the consent agenda with the modification of item number 7 for the county judge's signature to be added. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2 on general business, is review and approve the regular bills for payment, or the county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment or question on the bills by anyone here or in the conference audience? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on the motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 3, open and take action as necessary on proposals to rewrite, update the Wichita County, Texas Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Action Plan. Do we have any bids that have not been received? Please bring them forward now. None. Okay.
Barry, do you have a pocket knife on you? The first one, Judge, is by Grant Works.
It's heavy.
It has 2 thumb drives with it, and two hard copies. And it is signed by Bruce J. Smith-Snagel, President of Grant Works.
The next one's from Jeff Ward Company.
Okay. It also has 2 thumb drives as requested, along with six copies, which is what we really wanted. Okay. And, their proposal was signed by Jeff Ward, President.
Only your Christmas present.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy cow.
You don't just leave them in there and you,
Yeah.
well, you need to read the.
I need to see one of them.
That, I couldn't tell that label, Judge, who that is.
They got their 6 copies.
Oh, H2O Partners.
Okay.
Looks like there's
Okay. That's got the thumb drives on it. That's the package list, I bet you.
Little light reading.
Yeah. Give Lee something to do over Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanksgiving afternoon, no dozing off there. Be part of the first part.
This is signed by Eric Howard, Vice President. Thank you. Any others? Those are 3 only? Okay. I would ask for a motion to take those under advisement after
So-
having,
So moved.
Second.
Beecham and
Me.
Mahler. It was close, but,
Pretty close.
okay, any comments, questions, anyone on these? Lee, give an overview of what you kind of, see what process you're gonna review them, we should review them, and probably, do we have, is a different part of this, is there someone else we're having advise us on these, or these are actually these are to go out and actually produce the documents of which one of those three companies we select. And they are all, I recognize all three names, people who regularly deal in this, but this will be to update our mitigation plan for the next 5 or 10 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Originally, I think Wichita County was the second one in the state of Texas to come up with an improved mitigation action plan in 2004. Since then, we've updated it ourselves in-house, and it just got to the point where the FEMA standards and the formatting of the plan is just so outdated. That's why I went after that grant. So this will be to update the current plan that we have, or produce a totally new one, whichever.
Does this include the city of Wichita Falls, Lee?
No, that's the only one it doesn't include.
So it's all the other incorporated areas and the county in general, but outside the city limits, Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
Right.
The Wichita Falls didn't wanna go in on a combined plan for some reason.
Do so they have a separate plan?
Yes.
It's
Will
gonna
it
be,
mesh with their plan?
what's that?
Will our plan
Yeah, it's gonna
mesh
be-
with their plan?
Yeah, it's gonna be almost exactly the same thing, cause you can't hardly do a mitigation plan and exclude Wichita Falls. So there's most of the references in there about Wichita Falls, cause of the population.
So if you had a situation inside the city limits, would they take precedent over county? I mean, how does that work? Or
No,
you
wouldn't
work
take-
together, or?
Well, it wouldn't take precedence. It's for mitigation is for after a disaster, for
Right.
funding after the disaster. So each project is submitted on its own merit. So you wouldn't,
But-
no, there's no.
Yeah, you wouldn't have although they would, if there's damage, let's say, a significant area which Falls itself was damaged, and you had then the adjacent county communities, we would deal with support.
Which you probably
Right.
would.
Yeah.
If you had a
Yeah,
big deal.
but the only time we have any precedence or anything is dealing with evacuation or not. County judge's order trumps the city,
Okay.
order on whether to evacuate or not.
So the mitigation plan has all the hazards that could affect Wichita County. And this one's gonna have, well, we have power outage, but it wasn't that high on the list until now. I don't think we have a tsunami and we don't have a volcano in there. It's about the only things we don't have listed. But if it's in your plan, it's a mitigated project, and you've identified that, then you identify how you're gonna mitigate that project, that disaster if it happens.
What about cyber security? Will this deal with that? That's a totally new threat.
Yeah, I think that's part of FEMA's updates, is the cyber world.
Let's say we really ought to,
Yeah.
you know,
But in the past, it seems like anytime we've had flood or any of that kind of, the city and the county work
yeah.
very closely together.
Yeah.
There's been good cooperation, which is important.
It really, when this plan gets done and we have it electronically, I'll give it to Wichita Falls and they could use that. I don't think theirs is gonna expire for another year or two. So I'll give them this on a thumb drive and they can just take out the word city or county and put city in and it should be good to go. They have the same hazards that we do.
So this is funded by grant funds?
It's 100% grant funded by GL, Government Land Office.
Which, thanks for your efforts on that, that's $100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on that, sir?
I'll look them over this week and put them back on the court agenda for approval. Recommendation of one on Monday.
Okay. How long do you think? We probably ought to have it come back during a work session and talk about it before we take the vote on it. Get your recommendations and do that. So Nancy, let's look at it Friday. We can do that. Yeah, it won't be, yeah, we won't do it this Friday. And Lee won't have had time to take in this much information. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Mahler, to take the proposals under advisement and report back to the court at the appropriate time. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4 is discuss, consider taking action on the mutual cooperation agreement between Tempting Fate Films LLC and Wichita County. Uh, One of our deputies, and y'all may be familiar, is actually becoming a movie maker. And he's got a particular piece, he didn't know it would have to come through court and be approved, he thought the sheriff could just sign off on it. We asked him to be here today, Morgan sent him the number. Jerry, are you possibly on the call-in line? Okay. What he was really trying to basically say was, let us have access to the LEC, both the LEC, just the sheriff's administrative side, and then they wanted to use the old Sprague jail to do some filming in there. And as repayment to the county, he's offered to do, and he's done these before for the sheriff. One would be a recruiting video, and the other would be a training video that he would prepare. And he had proposed that would be a value of about $10,000. And what I had concern about, and Mr. Horaney and I worked through it, he had some concerns. There were some things in there, he wanted us to indemnify them. We can't do that by law. What wasn't real clear, he wanted to have, if they did it over, they were gonna try to do it this past Friday through this weekend, and could run into Monday. Well, that would be disrupting 2 days of office operation, and I wasn't really comfortable with that. We also would have to have someone on that could give them access and watch over things, and a couple of the sheriff's personnel wanted to volunteer to do that. We couldn't let them do that because they are hourly employees. You can't volunteer for your employer and do that. It would have been up to the sheriff, or Chief Rutledge, or Deputy Chief McFerrin, or Captain Patterson are the only exempt personnel in that office. And I really felt like if we had any personnel costs, those need to be repaid to the county. We also wanted to look at when was the date these would be done, and some kind of compliance there. If we have to open Sprague, then there's gonna, depending on how warm or cool it is, whether there'd be utility consumption there in the building. We keep it at a moderate temperature to protect the pipes and things, but it's, so some things that he really wasn't prepared to discuss are in this agreement. Of course, he hopes we will be, by his production there, we could be known as the next movie capital of North Texas. I appreciate his ambitious feelings for it. I'm not sure, and he cited, it'd be kind of like the last picture show in Archer City. Well, I hope we don't decrease in population like Archer City has since that. But he evidently really has a pretty good business and a good plan, and it's certainly something I think is part of what we should be part of. The other thing, he wants to be able to use the sheriff's personnel that would be in it in the uniforms, and it would have I'm gonna guess the Wichita County patches, the way I read it. Is that kind of the way you saw it, Mel?
What it looked like to me.
Yeah. So, what the best we can ask y'all for today, because I think he's wanting to do this the first week in December, and I'm gonna, in trying to help him, we don't want to stymie the next great producer of movies. And I say that jokingly, but I also think he could be. He's got some talent, and he's got connections. This is not a mom and pop operation he's put together. It's a legitimate business. He does have the insurance and things that we would need to do that. But I'd like for y'all to approve today that Mr. Horaney and I can work through the details and sign the contract, doing the best we can for the assurances that would protect the county and not have us have an unusual financial outlay without it being reimbursed.
Is there anything in here, Mel, that covers, like, should they have the people that are not of law enforcement, the film crew, should there be an, insurance of any type that covers?
They have their own insurance for their side. Now, obviously, if we're letting people enter premises that we control, there's no way out other than making them indemnify us would be about the only thing we could do to try to mitigate as much of our own liability as we can. Now, you can try to do that all day long. Now, will the insurance company they have agree with that? I don't know. You know, we don't know. So the bottom line is, there's always a little risk for our side whenever you're letting people into your place. Now, I do think it's a fairly short amount of time that I think they're gonna be in there. It wasn't full
Well,
days.
He's
or-
narrowed it down now to like 2 half-days. The only
Yeah.
thing he had in there that we couldn't tolerate is they would dictate when they could come back, they had to reshoot something. That has to be mutually agreeable.
Yeah.
I had one other
Yeah.
thing too, you talked about the funding as far as the sheriff's department. Could they not, no different than working security for another company? Couldn't they work security for that company and that company pay them whatever they want? That way it alleviates us from having to pay them. They're just doing security while a sheriff's department employee for them. If they wanna donate their time to them, that's fine. They're working security for that company. They're not working for us.
I think it's too thin.
I'm not sure about that.
I mean,
And
it's,
they're so close to, they're they're basically.
They're in
the
our
work
facilities,
side.
they have
Facility,
our keys.
work side.
No, I really don't think that's a good idea.
Is,
well, I mean, I worked security as an officer in being in a police vehicle and being in a police building in the past and been working for somebody else. No different than working at the Impact or something like that, but I'm just,
And they wear their uniform when they do that, don't
Yep.
they? And it's
Yeah.
part of it. And I don't know about on the sheriff's side, what if they, or do they, is that something their personnel do?
they do work
Do they
security
do
and wear
that
full
some?
uniform.
I'm not, I know they, like you see them at the gun show places, and I don't know if if they're on duty for that, or if that's
They're
something
working
like.
security, they're working security for the owner of the program that's putting that on.
Sure, so that's,
But if they're wanting to donate their time already, I don't know why they couldn't, they can pay them $1 an hour or whatever they want,
Yeah,
as long as they're not working for the county at the time.
But if they're the county's representative there to safeguard our property, I think that's where we
that's
sit
where,
across the line.
it gets kinda mixed there, and that's a problem. It's not purely a security deal there's a dual aspect to that might be problematic, so I don't know if that gets us out of that or not.
so is there any problem with that facility? It's not decommissioned. It's
Yeah.
still commissioned with the,
Is
Texas
it, I'm
Commission on
not
Justice.
familiar with what its
I
status
thought
is.
Sprague wasn't.
No,
I thought, we didn't,
yeah, we did,
did we,
because we'd have had to keep it up. It had to be instantly
thought-
operational.
I thought we left it commissioned.
No, I think we only left the downtown, a section of the downtown, because
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we decommissioned
Alright.
Sprague.
No, because
Yeah.
they wanted, if they came out and did a spot inspection, it had to be operational.
Okay.
The only thought that occurs to me is you don't necessarily want people in your secure facility filming, but I'm sure the sheriff would, sign off on what's safe to film and what's not. That's just kind of a sticky point. You don't want people.
You don't wanna advertise where the weaknesses might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
You said you don't really wanna advertise where the
Right.
weaknesses could be.
Yeah, you just don't, that's not good, but
The sheriff called me promoting this.
well, sure, so, but the sheriff, I'm sure will
What-
oversee that.
Yeah.
Well-
Do we have a first right of refusal, like, let's say that sheriff tells him this, that, don't do this, and then he puts together this Blood Dried Hands movie, and the sheriff is opposed to something in there, can he just go ahead and publish it, or does he have to have our consent?
I didn't see anything like that in the agreement. I don't think there was any kind of consent clause.
It
I mean,
wasn't
Judge, unless you
consent.
remember one, I don't remember seeing.
It was contrary. It was, they film it, we give them a release to do it.
Yeah,
Will it put our facility and our officers in a good light?
I mean, it is a horror movie, I don't know, I didn't get to read the screenplay.
You didn't get the
No,
script.
they're probably afraid
Well, I
I'll
mean,
leak it.
that is a concern.
That
I
is
don't want it.
very much a concern.
Because
Yeah.
it is putting our name
putting
on
our
it,
emblem on it,
essentially. I mean, and so I'm assuming this is set in Wichita County. I mean, I'm assuming that's how they're gonna have to explain that, or if
Well,
they're gonna.
Texas Chainsaw Massacres was too, but we didn't have our emblems all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to use them, so that's up to you guys on that front.
I don't know that the sheriff would be supporting it if it wasn't somewhat beneficial, or at least
Well,
putting Wichita County in a good light.
I don't think they're gonna make our deputies
I don't know.
bad guys in it. I mean, I don't know. They're not gonna be the axe wielder, I guess. I don't.
Well, I'm gonna bet you there's not anyone in this room nor out at the sheriff's department other than Jared's read that script.
Probably.
I think it's a valid question.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what,
what light it puts the county.
what
as.
rated film is this? I mean,
Well, I guess or beyond. I mean, we're
well, I mean,
talking-
is the county condoning, let's say there's, scenes that are risque?
There very well could be. I mean, at this point, we just have to sit back and hope he does a good job on that. I don't know what I don't know any status of what this thing's about. I don't know exactly what kind of scene they're shooting, because my understanding is this is not, there's other scenes being shot in all kinds of different places, so this may be a small part of this. I don't know. I don't know that the bad stuff's happening in the jail. I don't know. I'm assuming I'm assuming they want that location because it's kind of creepy. I mean, I'm assuming that. I haven't been in there since they shut it all down, so I don't know what it looks like.
It's pretty creepy.
Well,
Last
and
time I saw it.
they're wanting, I would think the jail effects, they've got bars, and they've got what looks like a real jail.
Yeah.
And it has the I bet they're going for the creepy effect of that too.
I mean, that makes me think something bad's going to happen in that jail scene.
Yeah.
That, I don't know why else you'd want it. I mean, again, we don't know. We haven't seen.
It's not a recruiting film for.
No, that's not going to be the recruiting film that's being made, but
There again, it is a film.
Yeah.
It is fiction.
it's exactly.
I mean,
it's not that.
you
I
can-
don't
but
think it's gonna.
You can drag yourself through the weeds all you want, you can make, but
But if we have a sheriff deputy playing an axe murderer in the jail, then that's not gonna paint us in a good light, ever.
No, or
Yeah.
I think we need,
Commissioner Precinct 2 puts himself in a compromising position outside the jail as,
Appreciate that is the main concern.
I don't want to be in it because I know what happens to the folks in the wheelchairs and these things, and I don't want to be in it. As long as I don't have to be in it.
oh boy, the things we
I think
discussed in
50 years
Commissioner's
ago, we
Court.
didn't have to worry near as much about it as we do now, but it's just something to think about.
I think somebody on county's behalf needs to review the script.
Well, we could ask him for that. My understanding is this might go into some film festivals,
Oh, South by Southwest kind of thing.
Cannes. I don't know if it's going there. No, there's lots of film festivals,
Yeah.
and they want to put it there. I don't know that there's any. My thought is that's to try to get somebody to distribute this. I don't know that they have a That's the kind of the big deal with movies and a lot of these things. You got to have some way to distribute that. I think they take them to those festivals in the hopes that somebody will pick that up to distribute. I'm thinking it doesn't have a distributor at this point. I don't know how widely this is going to be seen. I mean, I hope the best for Jay. I think his name is Jason, isn't it?
Jason, not
Jason. I wish the best for him, but it's kind of probably a long shot, like most things, that this is going to get widely viewed. I just don't know.
Well, I don't wanna overthink it, but
No.
it is
No.
a consideration.
and is there not any, I thought there was legislation that passed starting September that made some TV stuff in the sheriff's department off the table.
After the Williamson County Sheriff, yeah.
Is
that was.
I'd have to look into that. I'm not familiar with that, if that's the case.
That's the one where they were having, it was live arrests and everything else, and some of it got a little grandiose and a little,
Mm.
and the money was going to the sheriff, not to the county, not to share it, but to his department, which I don't see a whole lot different than the AG raking off his half off of everything we all did, but small.
Well, I have to admit, this wasn't my thought that I'd be dealing with this issue when I came. That's why that legislation, I didn't never
I
thought
remember
I'd be
Tracy
dealing
saying
with that.
Mel having an interesting time with this when she left, but. What I'm gathering, y'all aren't feeling as comfortable to kind of, you want to hear more details.
I would like to have more details.
Okay, I certainly wouldn't argue against that, and I think maybe we need to advise him, this is not a slam dunk deal with the court. And he needs to, we can advise him and tell him the concerns. He needs to set out a time to be here or to find a different.
Yeah, and
Yeah. You all
he could
get-
come like a Friday, couldn't he, Judge, and walk us through maybe some
Yeah.
of the,
Yeah.
Well, on
And-
Friday we have it on the agenda, yeah.
Just
That's
take
not
out-
for
just
another
take out-
week. Yeah.
the concerns that, you know, the questions that we might,
I think our biggest concern is the light. It looks like, what does the county look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
That's
have
my,
to be
that's my
concerned.
concern, is what, does it paint us in a good light? And we don't have to be heroes, but don't,
Well,
you know,
no,
don't.
but we don't know what
If
paint's
we're-
gonna get used in the final, you know, it's the difference of those plans and then as built.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if our logos are gonna be on there, then
Well, that's what I
we need
read.
to have some,
Well, there are people that didn't think the last picture show was very flattering to
No.
Arthur City.
Yeah,
So, you know, I mean, it just depends on how you look at it.
well, I mean, I'm all for his creativity and wanna help him out
Sure.
and don't wanna squish it, but we also gotta look out for the best interest of Wichita County.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at other organizations, like say, like universities, places like that, they don't just give out their emblems to put on things, and I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but it's, you know, that is of concern, and other
Yeah.
entities, government entities, agencies, they take that very seriously, and it is serious, so, you know.
Yeah, I think there's another step that we don't have yet, so.
well, I appreciate the sheriff bringing this to us instead of just
Sure.
saying, oh, yeah, this is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know, while he's responsible for that domain, that is not his domain.
After all, it is called tempting fate.
Yeah.
so do we just want to table it and review it,
Yeah. Yeah,
more
we'll go
detail?
back
Get some
to him
more.
and, voice the concerns here that we really wanna see the script, we wanna know how our people are being betrayed in it. And what about, you know, remuneration of costs, or is the two products he's talking about, he gave a little more detail in the last email. But I think if our personnel, and Tanya, you or Cheryl may have some feelings on this. I really don't wanna venture up to that line where there's any question about who they're working for at the time. If they're being actors, that's over here. If they're having any to do with safeguarding Wichita County facilities and giving, access, then they need to be on our payroll, in my mind.
Agreed, because, I mean, that way it protects us, and Tanya and I have been through enough TWC hearings to last us a lifetime, and we don't want any question of where their wages came from and where they did work.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when we go through inspection in that facility, we're held to a very high standard by the state, and I don't want anything out there in the public that would paint a picture of something other than the high standard that
Okay, this is not the jail.
is not in the jail.
It's only in the offices
in the
of
office.
Serving Sprague Jail, which has been decommissioned.
It's decommissioned, that does change it a little, yeah,
But we still wanna know what the public perception
yeah.
might be of this. You know, we had enough grief that time, I don't know what to call it, the tank, the big rubber tired tank was pulled over on the side of the highway, and there was a pickup in front of it, and people went by shooting pictures saying, my God, they used that to pull somebody over on the highway, and
It has a way of getting out there these days.
yeah, yeah. So, that toothpaste is hard to put back in the tube. Okay, so no action on this, we'll get the information and schedule. Jim, is that a thought?
No,
or-
just-
Oh, okay, I didn't wanna.
You know, what did I get myself into?
Get out the way.
He's already said that 4 times a day already. So, All right, okay. Then we'll get that back to y'all and try to get it where he's gonna come, and we'll shoot for a Friday work session. All right, item number 5 then is discuss or take action to approve PR number 61 for the Wichita County Annex 2022 renovation from M&F Liticon to remodel offices 154, 154A, and 155 per the drawing. The flooring called for in the PR was included in PR number 44 and was therefore not included here. PR includes painting, acoustical ceiling, and electrical to make the modification for the cost of $13,176. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, I wish Glenda was on the phone for this one. Can I table that one till next week?
Okay,
I'm not ready on that one.
okay, we'll just remove it.
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right, item 6 is receive an update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and courthouse annex.
All the projects are going well. Demolition is finally complete on 4 and 5. All the material's been removed from both stories. We got our glass in over the weekend. Now I gotta fight for a place in line of getting installed. So I think I'm third in line. It is here finally. Still doing the tile work and doing the wood detail work now. If you've been downstairs and seen the wood detail, I don't think that's the final product. Don't like what they've done so far. They're gonna have to tear some of it out and redo it. I'm not happy with it, so. We discussed this morning on how I would like for it to look, not the way it looks right now, so.
Mark, is there any concern, have you had any concern with any of the cracking or,
In that subfloor,
is that?
I've talked to them about it. It's just a cap, and they'll float over that cap. So what the floor underneath it was not cracked. It's just that inch or so cap that's over the top of
Anytime
it.
you do that, you're prone to get those.
Do you have some cracked?
You got some wall cracks that I've noticed they pulled some tile off of and gone back.
Yeah, patched in the wall cracks off the original sugar
I'm
walls.
surprised we're having some cracks in the new build wall. But is what
Where,
it is.
on the new built wall?
On the main hall going out the doors.
Well, that's all that old sugar wall.
Is it?
Yeah,
The sugar
yeah,
wall?
it's all the original.
Well, it doesn't appear that it's a structural crack.
No, it's not. The
It's
floor
just-
cracks are not. It's,
Yeah, they're not.
it's that thin cap,
Yeah,
and it does have cracks, but they'll float over it before they put the final floor on it, so. And I've been reassured multiple times that that's not gonna be an issue, that, because the subfloor there was no cracks or anything that didn't go unrepaired before they put that cap over it, that should not be a concern.
you've gotta remember that final pour was over
Yeah,
a lot of different.
yeah, variation of height, so,
variations that tends to make it move around a little.
yeah, it's 7 inches of variation to accommodate in that
Other
floor.
than that, it wasn't long. Well, you still got that slope that heads to the entrance.
Yeah, to the entrance, yeah.
What about window installation that, like, this morning Judge McKnight asked about it, the lawyer's lounge where we meet.
That's, yeah, I've got the glass in. I'm standing, waiting in line now to get it installed,
Okay,
so.
I told him I thought the crews we had doing it had left due to the rain and.
Well, I've got, the window installers are a different crew
Oh, are
than what's here on site, so. They've got 2 other jobs that I'm in line with, and I begged to move up, but they're also in public buildings that that are actively in use, so. I don't know if I got a bigger stick than the state, or I think it's Bellevue ISD. I might be able to bump Bellevue ISD out of the way,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know if I can bump the state out of the way. trying to get them here as quickly as I can.
All right. And just for those that have heard the rumor, you do have one of the new elevators in, but it's not certified, so it's not
It's
usable.
not certified.
It won't be until we get the other one working with it.
That's correct. They won't do the inspection until both of them because they share common equipment.
The comment was made this morning that they work in tandem, and of course, the laughter started that one elevator had to be going, you know, like this. I said, no, that's.
No, they
that's not
share,
what it means.
they share common control equipment.
Yeah,
So it is, the hoistway is working, the cart has not been, or the car has not been modified yet, but the hoistway is working, the mechanical part of the elevator is working.
okay.
So-
In both?
No,
in
no,
the
just north one.
Okay.
It can be controlled with from inside the cart by manual operation, so.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anything else, anyone, or not, that we just take information from, not discuss? Okay, it is 10:52, and